How we doing, everybody out there? Gregory sports fans, Baltimore Raven fans, Oriole fans, thank you for joining us here for our Ravery Sports conversation with the social media podcast that's going on here today. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. So 1,000 of you now are watching on almost at 1,000 on X, over 250 now on YouTube, over 100 now on YouTube, 250 on Facebook as well. Definitely to our blog. Over 1,500 of you actually checked out our blog this month. So we want to thank you in February. So we thank all of you for going ahead and checking that out, all of our daily articles and everything, fanatics links and everything. Like and subscribe to all of our content. Real quick, Genesis Notary Services in Faith in Winchester, Virginia. If you know, you know. So those of you, thank you, all of you that have reached out in the Shenandoah Valley and bring in the guests for this last promo. We're also Harris Legal Shield. Definitely too. If you don't know, definitely too. If you want your legal needs satisfied, you can go to our Facebook page, Harris Legal Shield, and go ahead in Winchester, Virginia, and you can go ahead and check that out. I brought Greg in for the last part of that because he was the guy that introduced me. You hear me talk about it every week. He was the guy that introduced me to Legal Shield a zillion years ago, right? Before we had less gray hair.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you guys for joining us here. We got our guest here, and you know how we get on camera and we say my brother or this is my brother. Well, here's my actual brother, right? we're actually blood brothers all of our lives here.
We share the same mother. Yes, we do.
That's for sure. That's like, so I'm sure somebody in the comments is going to say you guys look alike. I can see that one coming. So we got Mr. Coffee here, Greg Mcbride. How you doing, sir?
Baby, we're gonna make it do what it do.
He always says that. Make it do what it do. Right, Greg. Positive talk here today as well. Greg's a very positive guy. Old school football as well. Now we're going to be respectful. He likes the wrong football team there. That's all right. He's a fan of what I call the squealers here. So let's start there, right? I always want to ask that question, right? You are older than me. You were for me, like there was no football, right? When I was coming up. The Colts had already left. The Ravens didn't get there until 96. You were in the Colts era, right? So were you a Colts fan? Baltimore Colts?
Baltimore Colts, diehard Baltimore Colts fan. Never missed a game. Dick Butkus and Bubba Smith was my two ultimate heroes. When I saw that game, I was like, it was the greatest game I ever saw in my life. That was Chicago and Baltimore.
I know about Dick Butkus. You talked about the Bears, and I remember that. I remember like when we were kids, you Walter, even the next era of the Bears, the 80s era, the Super Bowl era, Walter Payton. I know you liked him, and Refrigerator Perry and those guys, and Mike Ditka as well. But Bubba Smith. People that don't know that in Baltimore, and that's an old school Baltimore, that Bubba Smith was a legend in town, right? I mean, it wasn't nowhere you want to get in a fight with somebody, say something bad about Bubba Smith. Like it was like this, and Parker as well. So what happened? So why are you wearing that other color if you were a Colts fan all those years?
Snowstorm came, we won the championship, and the owner decided in those trucks to sneak the team out of town and go to Indianapolis. Took all our memorabilia, all our championships, everything that we accomplished as a team, just didn't say hi, bye, boo, nothing. And I just refused to. You left me. So I stayed with where I stayed. So You know,
Well,
ain't a
I
Super Bowl.
understand. I understand that part. Not being an
Yeah,
Indianapolis Colts fan, I'm not either. I'm just saying, and a lot of them are not. But where did the Steelers come from outside of the fact they were
next,
the
the
team of the '70s?
next, the next greatest defensive player next to Bubba Smith was Mean Joe Green.
Yes, yeah.
They, I'm a lot of people say, well, you was on this team and you watched this. I love the sport and I love the players who actually love the sport. But when it came to Mean Joe Green and Bubba Smith, Dick Buskins, and those guys, they were hands down. That was real football. I love football. I used to play football, so I had a love for the game.
Hmm.
And Steelers was the next ones up. I could have went with the Bears, but it is what it is. You know, you had the Vikings was the purple people eaters, the Bears was the monsters of the Midway, you know, the Green Bay Packers was the pack, you know, the Steelers was the steel curtain, you know, it was just those guys were monsters. You know, that's where I love football. Hard hitting.
People don't people don't realize how big though. You mentioned Bubba Smith, how big of a guy he was in the era of football he played compared to other guys. I mean, you couldn't like you even saw him years later. He was obviously he had a second career as an actor. He was in all the Police
Yes.
Academy movies. He did a lot of TV shows and things like that. I mean, it didn't do him justice. I mean, Bubba Smith was a huge guy is as well. I mean, in terms of that, kind of underrated as a player all time. Would you say? Like, I don't think not enough talk about Bubba.
Oh yeah, he was highly underrated, but he opened up the door for many football players to get into film and things like that. Bubba Smith he was just that guy, you know, very humble, but you know, when he got on the field and put his cleats on, he flipped the switch. He was just a whole nother animal. He was just a whole different human being. So, you know,
Bubba Smith also too. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has this as well.
yes.
Dennis Rodman has this in a different way, but he just walks in a room and you notice without a word.
Oh
He's just
yeah,
gonna walk in there. Bubba, he would just walk in a room and then he didn't even need to be a scene. He just they would just show him where he's just standing there, right? Right.
yes.
And they would just do the long shots. Kareem was kind of the same guy, just standing there. It was kind of hard to explain as a
Well,
player.
they just their presence in the room commanded attention. You know, they never entered off into a room to where they came in talking and I'm this big star and this, that, and the other. They were very confident in who they were on and off the field, whichever way that they were playing. So, I mean, with that type of integrity, man, it was it was something that shaped me. So,
Mm.
besides, I got to meet these guys. Um,
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Have you ever got a chance to meet? I know Mom would talk about meeting a lot of the players. She worked at, for those out there that don't know, in Baltimore, the Ravens facility that's still there now was to be the Colts facility. The Ravens took that when they, because it was a NFL
mhm,
facility, and she worked at. You and I both know she worked at CJ's. So many of the Raven players ate at CJ's because it was so close to the facility. So I heard
mhm.
her talk about meeting XYZ player. How many players did you meet? Because it was different then. A lot of the players lived in Baltimore, worked in Baltimore. You saw them in off season and
Yeah, a
and
lot
all
of
that.
them.
Unlike now. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, a lot of the players lived up in Hunts Valley. Some of them lived up in Towson, some in Lansdowne, places like that. But I got to meet them. Mom used to work at a place called Wilson's Restaurant up on Pennsylvania Avenue. It's where, you know, that's the Chitlin circuit. That's where we went. That's where all
Right,
of
right,
us
right, right.
was, So um, I got to meet Bubba Smith. Um, I got to meet Mean Joe Green. I got to meet Daryl Dawkins. I got to meet Abdul Kareem Jabbar, but he was not Jabbar at that particular time.
You
Before
got to
he
meet
changed,
Luau Cinder there.
yes, before
Yeah,
he
yeah,
changed
yeah,
his
yeah.
name. Um, um, I got to meet some boxers. Got to meet some of those radio jocks. You know, Kelsey Chop Chop Fisher. Uh, what's that? Lee Christopher Cross. That was my boy, and he was actually a Native American. Um, so I got to meet all of those up on Pennsylvania Avenue at Wilson's Restaurant.
Yeah, Pennsylvania Avenue, and for those of you watching, especially that was and is the hood, as
Yeah,
well.
that's the
That's
hood.
an
But back
art
in the
social
day,
club
oh
and
yes,
shake and
but
bake and all
but
that.
now, see, because back in the day, that was the strip. And like I said, it was
Mm,
the Chitlin Circuit. You could see Red Fox there. You could see what's that? Flip Wilson, Stevie Wonder, Della
yes.
Reese, Bill Cosby. You know, that is like where all of us came through. So, I mean, there's a book about it in the library.
Absolutely, absolutely. Art Social Club too was there. Actually, and when I was in college, I had an event at Art Social Club as
Yes.
well. So it lasted a long time in terms of
Hmm.
not just that era, which was prime era, but yeah, but they were there for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
After that, Art Social Club. Um, one other thing on that. So, who is, would you say, would you talk about the greatest Colts players of all time? Give me a name that, like, obviously, those are the obvious ones you talk about: Bubba Smith,
Monk,
Johnny Unitas, um, uh, Art Donovan. I mean, give us a name that like maybe people wouldn't know
Art
that you
Monk.
can that you, Art Monk was
He
the
was
risk.
a line.
That was
He
the
was a
risk.
defensive lineman, and he was your worst nightmare. This guy played with a broken arm.
Art
They
Donovan.
put the cast on his
Yeah.
arm on the field. He would not come off that field until he, they just had to win. So you had Art Monk on one side, you had Dick Buckus running up
Yes.
through the middle. Um,
Art,
it was a quarterback's nightmare.
Art Donovan spent all of his time talking about how soft everybody else was because of the stuff you just said. Because he was out there, like you said, on a cast and all that other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you get these kids now turf toe. What in the world is a turf toe? You spring your baby toe and you gotta sit out for the rest of the game. You had like Riggins. He was up there, a running back, playing, and his knees are broken. He had fractures. The time he took another hit, they had to cart him off the field because he had broke his knee. Didn't know. He wrapped it up, taped it up, and as long as he could run, he was going to run. That's football. What they do now, I do not recognize. It's like flag football.
Yeah.
You know, you got the shoulder pads are so small. It looks like they just out there playing back
Yes.
at the ball like I used to
They
play.
don't wear hip pads no more, and they don't
No,
wear the next things no more. You see that?
they don't wear shin guards. Um, the helmets are aero, aerodynamic and speakers and microphones inside of it. And I'm like, seriously. quarterbacks can't quarterback because you got somebody in your ear telling you plays. You got a little piece of thing on your wrist that flip chart with plays on it. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Real quarterbacks was out there and they called the plays. They ran, they led the
They
team, win or lose. So, football has changed a lot.
they got now two coordinators for each team nowadays. But back when you were talking about when you played back in those days, like they didn't need no coordinators because the quarterback called whatever he wanted to call in the game.
Yeah.
They didn't. Yeah, you're right about that. Um, Change in Pittsburgh, right? How do you? We haven't had a chance to talk about that. So change in Baltimore, 18 years, no more John Harbaugh as the head coach, and even more, one more than that, the great Mike Tomlin is no longer the coach as well. You guys got it right in the last game. You missed a field goal and
Yes.
never been in that situation as well. Win the division, lose in the playoff game, and now you have a new coach. What was your thoughts on Tomlin as a coach?
Well, I didn't like Mike Tomlin when he first came in because he was a young kid, brash. He played football, but he was never a number one player. He was a starter, but you never heard much about him. But he knew the game.
He played in
So
Virginia, William and Mary. That's about as far as he got. He never really played.
yeah, I mean, you never
He
knew
wasn't.
anything
I
about
heard
him.
you. Yeah. He wasn't this great player, right?
No. And
Yeah.
then when he just, it seemed like he just came from out of nowhere, but he knew the game. He had that rapport with his players. He knew how to get the best out of them to get them to play their style of football. And then he just went from there. And he's a great, and still is a great coach. You know, uh, John Harbaugh, man, I never liked him. But when he got to Baltimore, um, I saw him as a different guy, and the way he led the team to, especially a franchise team, to actually get to not only to the playoffs but to a Super Bowl. That impressed me. There's no nonsense way of coaching. So, but that rivalry is going to be non-existent with the coaches that they bringing in now.
Why do you
Most,
why do you think that? Why do you think it's I do agree that I do agree the coaches of the Ravens and the Steelers for the last many years have kind of parallel. They've been at the same point. Now you bring in a veteran guy, older guy, McCarthy, as well. Now the Ravens with their young guy, the next young guy, Jesse Minter.
they don't have they
Yeah,
don't have
go
the
ahead.
level of excellence that they need to the command on the field as well as off the field. Tomlin was like a father figure to these kids, on and off. He was like, there, you got this coach, and these coaches that's getting ready to come in on these two teams now. These coaches are just, I'm gonna get my paycheck. I'm gonna coach you when the season is due. This, that, and the other. But don't call me if you get in trouble. I'm
Yeah,
not coming to get you.
tough act to follow. What you're saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Tough act to follow as well. Of the three, Cower, Tomlin, Chuck Noll. Which one would you go for?
Say again.
The three coaches of the Steelers: Mike Tomlin, Bill Cowher, and Chuck Noll.
Bill Cowher.
I think Cowher is very underrated of the three. I think most Steelers fans would say Chuck Noll, but I think Cowher, I think the job what he did was phenomenal. He had a much
Well,
tougher job, I think. Yeah.
oh
Go ahead.
yeah, because he had Chuck Noll was a hard act to follow. He stayed there. You figured Chuck took them to an era where they was just good players, but he brought them 4 Super Bowls with a bum quarterback, Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw was a bum, but he had something that those other quarterbacks didn't have. He had
He
an
did.
arm.
He did struggle more than what people realize. What you just said, like a
Yeah,
lot of people kind of revere him as this all-time great. I mean, he kind of had a period there where, yeah, you weren't so sure that this was going to work out.
they
I mean,
they had to teach that boy how to scramble.
yeah,
He's an Okie from Muskogee, and he's gonna stand in the pocket and he's gonna trade blows with you. They said, "No, we need you to do this." That's why he came up with broken ribs and banged up shoulders and this. They said, "No, we need you to move." So they
because
had
he's
to
not
teach him
listening.
how to maneuver, how to sit there and get back, how to drop back, what's the best way to use his arm. And once he got it, bam, 2 Super Bowls back to back. His head got a little big, and he missed the third one for the three-peat. But that following year, he got back in the game. Bam, two more, 2 more Super Bowls back to back. So Chuck Knowles had his work cut out for him, but he was the man. Power, he was. How do you capitalize on that? So he worked with him. Worked with him. They changed different this, that, and the other. He said, "You know what we're gonna do? Go back to playing Steelers football." So they went back to the times of Lynn Swan. He went back to the times of Frank O'Harris. He started putting those players in line, in place. And they went back to playing Steelers football because what they do best. And then, turn around. He had a quarterback, Big Ben, that was almost like a mirror image of a Terry Bradshaw, but he was tall. And they won the Super Bowl.
Who was a better quarterback to you, too? That was another one. Big Ben or Bradshaw? You said they were a lot alike. Bigger version
Yeah,
of Bradshaw.
Bradshaw was a better quarterback. He was a good old country boy, but he could rally his team. He was a maniac on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Offense, defense makes no difference. He was in the game. He loved the game. So, he just loved the game. So he could rally his team from a deficit. They was down. I think they was down like 2 scores. Then here you go. Off of the interception, Frank O'Harris scoops the ball up before it touches the ground. It was a block play. Ball's in the air. Ball getting ready to hit the ground. Franco picks it up, bam, runs for a touchdown. That rallied the team. That rallied the team, put them back. And they got a second win. And next thing you know, game over.
My dad never did like that. Never did like that day, because that was going against his guys. It was the Raiders. I tell the audience all the time. My dad's favorite team was Oakland. Every time I mention Oakland, as well as far as that goes. One more thing, did want to talk to you about this. I don't think we've talked about this either. Tomlin, African American coach, he was kind of like the standard, like for years after the success he had. Why don't we have more black coaches? You think what's wrong with why aren't these guys? I mean, it is a fact how many
It's the good old boys
players
club.
aren't. Yeah.
It's the good old boys club. They don't. It's the same reason why there's not a lot of black quarterbacks. There's some teams that just believe that, okay, you're not qualified to run this type of organization. So
There are
Tom
more
had the Tom
black
had
quarterbacks than it was. We got
huh?
way more than we used to have as far as black
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
Well, we had way more than what we used to have, but I'm telling you, there was a lot of people that got overlooked for these guys to actually sit in these positions and roles. You have to give the ones that came before you their flowers and their dues, because those are the ones that open the door for you, like your running backs, your halfbacks, wide receivers. Those positions, those key positions wasn't as they would say, they weren't for us. It's like
Right.
being Jackie
Right.
Robinson, you can't play this, you can't do that. And,
Bill Polian in his famous line now, he told Lamar, man, maybe you should play wide receiver. Like
yes,
Lamar is the best quarterback. Like he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. He's won MVP 2 times. And they're telling him, well, you should play wide receiver.
if they give him half the weapons that the Ravens had before him, build that type of team, there's no way that they wouldn't win another 2-3 Super Bowls.
Yeah. I think it's I think it's just unfortunate that you're still and we're still having this discussion at all. In terms of where are the black coaches, where are the black quarterback, where is the guys running organizations, where are the black owners, that we're still even having these type conversations. I'm the type, and I don't know if I've said this to you, I think I've said this to several people, tired of celebrating our first still. Why are we still even have to celebrate the first person getting this or the first doing this or the first, we should have already done a lot of these things already.
One, we're not ever going to get the recognition that is due. I'm not going to say never, but it's going to be sitting up there different. Two, until colonization is actually put to bed, and then equality comes up, then we function better as a people instead of just individuals. As long as that individualism and socialism is going to be out there, we're always going to be having to be the best at what we do 2 times, 3 times over, just to get to where we need to be.
Yeah, the line from I don't know if you ever watched Scandal, but that's the line from Scandal that didn't even need to be in the TV show, but where he's telling his daughter, you need to be twice as good to get half of what they. Well, yeah, exactly. Let's talk about what you're doing now, right? So you are actually working with or were, as I talked to you at least, about a former NFL player, right? You were doing that as well. Tell us a little bit about I don't know exactly. It's Holton Bugs. You keep mentioning lately, and then it was Forex. So talk to the people about that.
Well, actually, Rod Smith is a 2-time Super Bowl champion for the Denver Broncos. Actually got to meet him, and then we actually worked together. Holton Bugs is a mentor and is a business partner of mine now. Took me some years to get there, but hey, baby, I'm here. In the Forex market, it's like this. I jumped into this for 2 reasons. 80% of us are stupid. We're just financially illiterate. We have We have nothing. We know nothing what to do with a dollar. These guys taught me what to do with a dollar. Where to
Hold on.
do it, how to do communist. Okay, I got you.
All right, all right. So I'm gonna restart. Go ahead.
Well, it's 80% of us are financially illiterate. So I've been working with these guys. They've been teaching me what to do with a dollar, where to place it, how to sit there and build legacy, build finance, build wealth within inside of ourselves, like the Bible says about building. You a good father builds wealth for his children's children. That's legacy building. But if you don't know how to do that, then you don't. The parable of the talents is actually about investing. It's about investments, how to invest, where to invest. Learning Forex is a skill set. That's something that nobody can take away from you. I had a guy I was on a call this morning before I came on here, and this dude, he was talking to Terrell, and Terrell, he called Terrell and said, "Look, man, I don't have a job, broke. I got $200 in my account.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do?" So Terrell hooked him up in our community with one of our quick code coaches, and from that 200, and with the skill that he's learning in the Forex market, this dude took the $200 and turned it into 4,000.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's doing now he's able to take care of his family, and he can sit there and do it from home. We have a goal in our community. Our goal is to reach 1,000 people within inside of 90 days to doing just that. Teaching them a skill set with all this craziness going on out here, paralyzing people and having them caught like deers in a headline. But you can actually put your own finances back into your home by learning a skill set. I've been retired for a long time, so I've been at this for about a minute.
Tell the people what you used to do, like out there as far as that goes.
Man, I was factory worker.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I used to make magazines. Before that, I was a general contractor, painter, carpenter. My daddy used to tell me, if it's a poor rabbit that has one hole. But since 2019, I used to do Legal Shield. But a sustainable income for me was learning how to do Forex, how to set and trade, and having these guys take me under their wing to set and do that. Now I have the opportunity to help people build the table instead of having them sit at somebody else's table. So that's a great thing for me.
The tables nowadays for people are shrinking, right? Yes. We talked about how much harder it is for us. We were talking about the NFL and coaches and getting opportunity. But I think in general, it's not just us as African Americans, but it's always people of all races now. Like, look, this is kind of what you always talked about. This is kind of what you always said. Like, in terms of jobs going away, a lot of people are struggling,
Well, I've been telling people real quick. There's a lot of like what we've been doing now is with Hope and Bugs is getting ready to sit and teach us how to be on top of AI. We're getting ready to bust out in Risen Live. That's what it's because we are now risen. I'm not going to get religious, but that's where we got our name from. He is about to teach us now how to be on top of AI and how AI is not there to replace you. is only going to make you better. So learning AI and learning an AI system, the AI is going to make more millionaires in 2026 and 2027 than the internet has ever done. So in the world of network marketing, on top of AI, we're talking 170, 107, $178 billion will be made in the next 5 years using AI. So having that skill set, like I said, um, doing the trainings and this, that, and the other, learning, that's something that nobody can take away from you. And you can give your family that type of stability that you always wanted from your employer that you're never going to get.
I think, like, also too, what you're seeing also is it's not just it. When you talk about layoffs and all that other stuff and people not getting jobs, it used to be like with organizations that, if it was slow or it's, they didn't have enough money, or say like, now it's just part of the deal, right? It's just
Oh
part
yeah,
of the deal. They just going, I mean, it's just every
once
every time they
those,
get every quarter, every this, they're gonna, hey, we're
oh
gonna,
yeah, but it's not going to be every quarter. You got people. I posted on my Facebook page about Block. Block is they do blockchains, they do investments and things like this. They're cutting like 80, almost 80% of their workspace because they're going to be using AI.
yeah,
Out of
yeah,
jobs that are going to go away, and people think, well, and you're listening to the wrong person. Bring back the good old days. There was never no good old days. These jobs are going, and they're not coming back.
yeah. I agree.
Because
Yeah,
things
I
are
agree.
things are definitely off changing. So AI is going to sit there and not make a difference. It's just going to make a difference in the way things are viewed and how things are seen. So, you know, I've been retired now for a long time
I,
too.
I'm also too more concerned, not with me and you, because we kind
Mhm.
of get that stuff. I started my own business, and you have business, that my, but like our daughters, right? I mean, I have daughters. I have three daughters. Like I have daughter 18. She's out here trying to find a job, first steady job, and I'm
Teach them,
more concerned about that. Your
teach
daughter as
them,
well. Like
teach
same,
them,
same way.
teach them a skill set,
Yeah,
something that they can use to apply to themselves. I've been studying for the last 3 months now, with a couple of other people on the markets, different marketing and just different things about in the stock markets and investments and things like that. So in that part of illiteracy, see, your inheritance, people think when they die, they're going to be able to leave that house to their kids and things like that. That's not going to happen. The state's going to come get that. People don't know about
yeah.
trust fund.
They're gonna do that if you're not properly
If
taken
you're
care
not
of.
properly
Right,
coached or what to
right.
do, how to take your will, put it into a trust, then
Mhm.
how to take your trust and put it into a living trust, how to set your children up to the point in a place to where they're beneficiaries, what investments or what to do and place those things into the trust. So now you're living off of just that trust to take your car, your bank account, your cell phone, everything, put it into your trust account. And then now with the investments and things that you made, you're making these things off of quarters. You can do it 4 or you can do it 6. And then, you can get XYZ amount of money each year for you to sit there and live off. Let's just do $100,000. So out of $100,000, you need to set and have $1 million in your investments. It's going to drop to you a quarter. So when it breaks you off 100,000 or 150, you do that times five. So point oh five. That gives you somewhere in the neighborhood of like $7,500 per month. Why can't you live off of that and not work, take care of your family? It's how you learn how to do these things. But if nobody is putting it out there for you to learn, you're not going to learn because you're caught in this microwave to where you want things now. But you got to put these things in place. You got to build these things. So that's just what we're doing right about now. We're teaching.
Say who we is. You're saying we. Who the name it? Whoever we is.
Oh, we would be Holton Bugs, Darren Gibson, Rod Smith, myself. I actually have this. I'm actually put in a position to where now I don't have a seat at the table. With these gentlemen, I'm helping them to build a table for people to sit down on. Mm-hmm. I am actually a founder in this business that's coming up called Risen Live. I'm a founding member. So I have a corporate position and I'm just running around looking for other people to put in the position of a corporation to help do just what we're doing. Our vision is 1,000 people to help them to teach them a skill set, show them a skill set, how to get financially free. And it's not hard. I mean, it's not rocket science. You learn the language. So we just changed the language. We just changed the language, made it simple enough for people to do. Come on, and to learn. And before you know it, wham bam, thank you, man. Like the gentleman just the other day ago. He took $200 and made $4,000 with it.
Doing Forex, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes, doing Forex. Doing Forex, doing Forex trades. Okay, where do you want to put your money? What you want to do with your money? How you get the broker? We teach all of that through a thing that we call Quick Coach.
So what? So you've done a lot of things. You worked, and you had 20 years of manufacturing. I did too. I had like 20 years of manufacturing. You had more than that, for sure.
Yes.
Where does your love of investing start? But this is your favorite subject when I actually do so. Like you go on.
Well, it started. It started 2019 when they first did this. History doesn't do anything but repeat itself. So in 2019, we had the COVID and things like that. So I actually learned to stay home and learn how to sit and make a positive income for my family. I just took $25 and turned it into $668.
Okay. All right. And for again, legal purposes, we're not telling anybody out there to go and for it. No, I got it. We're not telling anybody to go out for it. We're just explaining what he's doing for that as well. But certainly, if you need help with the legal stuff, you could go to Harris Legal Shield and get that. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So so those are just some of the things that we just actually just put in place so that you can actually do those things. So it's Legal Shield. Yeah, I can sit and do that. Those are the type of lawyers can sit there and help you to put your will and your trust and things together, so that you can actually build. So once you build that foundation, then what we do and show you how to fund those foundations and how to protect your money and move it from our government's parameters to sticky fingers. It's what to do with it now and actually build a sustainable income for your family and your family to come. You know, to actually move you out of the system. Because as long as you stay in the system, you're going to get caught up. You know, jobs are going to constantly keep going away, and you're going to get caught in the middle of it. So if you move yourself from that middle, I call it a trauma zone. If you can move yourself out of that type of system and put it in a place in a way that you and your family can grow, then it's all together, it's all good.
I think also too, if for entrepreneurs out there, and I think I've said this on and off camera, you can't worry about what's going on in the country as a recession. You can't worry about what your family thinks. You can't worry about
No,
a lot
you
of
can,
those things. You know, a lot of people thought, and I think I know I've said this before. A lot of people think this is crazy what I'm doing. What are you wasting your time doing this for? And blah blah blah. So you gotta drown out the naysayers as much as anything. You know,
got a
if you
plan, you
get
got to
if you
proceed.
can get customers and drown
Mhm.
out the naysayers, that's the main thing. Because you're gonna have challenges. You're gonna have things
You're
that
always
challenge.
going to have challenges. You're going to have people because people say the naysayers come speaking from out of fear.
Yeah.
And you can't allow people in your space when you are having a paradigm shift. I love people from Baltimore for the simple fact being a kid from the other side of the tracks, I know them as a different set of people, you know, because when they get sick and tired, they're sick and tired. And those are the ones start actually making a difference. So you got 35,000 women that lost a job, but nobody said anything about the men. The men actually that lost jobs outweighs the number of the women. And these people have skills and they're looking for a way to pay their bills. So instead of running around, my whole thing is instead of running around and trying to get back into a system that just kicked you out, take the skill set that you learned and that you have, apply it to yourself,
Yeah.
and participate in your own rescue. I put it up on Facebook all the time. I say I participate in my own rescue. So, you know, and as a father, grandfather, father for the second time, and I'm about to be 70 years old. Um, it's April. Come on, you know, I got to make it do what it do. I don't have the time I don't have the time to listen to naysayers. I got to do what I have to do for my family.
I don't have grandchildren quite yet, but it ain't that far away. Right?
But,
My
yeah, but
daughter's my daughter's 18 now. The oldest one is like, so it's getting closer. I'm closer to that
but
than the
it's
other side.
time,
Yeah,
but even when you got kids like that, it's time to build for them. And
yeah.
while you're building for them for their future, teach them how to build their own. It's like I learned this from a guy, gas and electric guy. He just don't have to work. He can turn my gas on. Because I was having some problems, having some issues. And we got to talking about Forex and trading in the stock market and this, that, and the other. His food son doesn't have to work, but he works because he bought stock in McDonald's. That stock now, made that boy is wealthy. He did the same thing for now his grandson. And now his grandson is growing, so is that stock growing. So it is what it is. So by the time he reached the age of maturity, That's what generational wealth is all about. That's what we teach. That's what we preach. And it's time for people to get back to doing just that.
All right. Thank you, sir. Tell all the people out there watching where we can find Mr. Coffee, as his handle is on
Yes,
social media.
you can find Mr. Coffee at Mr. Coffee on Facebook. TikTok is Coffee Talk. You can find me over there on TikTok, and you can find me at LinkedIn at Gregory Mcbride. And you know, baby, we always gonna make it do what it do.
So there you guys go. Old school football there as well. Little Baltimore Colts in today. Got my Ravens gear on, but definitely two Baltimore Colts as well. Guy used to be back in the. You talk about this guy. Used to talk about his time as a junior Oriole when they had that. We didn't get into that. Would have taken another 30 minutes as
Well,
well.
yes, that would.
Yeah,
But,
that would have taken another 30 minutes.
But most people on Facebook know me as Mr. Coffee. I always do my handle. So before we sign off, I'm gonna do my signature pitch, and then we can go ahead and
go ahead. We're about to sign off. Go ahead. Go for it.
You have just had your coffee talk today. Bye, Mr. Coffee. And as always, you know, I'm gonna see you when I see you, and I'm gonna talk to you when I can, and I will see you on the beaches of the world or from them. Peace from the beach in the east. This is Baltimore's favorite son, Gregory.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Ravori Sports Podcast. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. You right there looking at the camera. So as well, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube page, especially in Twitter and all of our social media. Thank you so much for joining us today. Y'all have a great rest of your day.